Now, what she covers right here, I don't think you could possibly have a more important conversation than what she lays out right here and the context I'm going to add after you watch this. Well, the last 15, 16 minutes of this video, best I got, dude. If you watch that, you watch the last 15, 16 minutes of this video and you're like, I'm unimpressed with him. Just, you can never come back to this channel because that's the best I have, okay? I got nothing else for anybody if that insight doesn't hit for you. So buckle up. And, and the ad I'm going to show you in the middle applies directly to what we're going to be talking about in that final thing. And if that feels like a ploy, it's not. Just, you'll know. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So Tim Pool put out a video today that had some words about like the broader universe that's been commenting on the Charlie Kirk assassination. And as much as I would love to, like, oh, Tim Pool, comes at me. He actually called out Ian Carroll specifically, and then he said some smaller creators around him. I mean, maybe that includes me, maybe it doesn't matter. I actually think that what he said in his take gives me the opportunity to make some very profound points that I think people are missing in general about this topic. And I don't consider myself part of anything. Like, I always share what I actually think in these cases. Now, that's going to be the last thing that we look at. But first, we're going to look at some of the things that Candace has said back to Tim after his tirade where he called her a "see you next Tuesday" twice and dropped, I think, like 25 to 30 F-bombs and S-bombs and C-bombs in about a 3-minute clip, which was like, that's like a new record even for me, dude. I know because I had to edit them out, but nonetheless, so she went hard on him. And we had, I don't know, there's also a couple other stories that I'm actually going to start off with real quick, and then we're going to get into it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I appreciate you guys very much riding with your boy. Now, I have a little surprise for you guys. It's possible I might have put it in the title and the thumb. I don't know. But Candace exposed something very, very crazy about an event at Tim Pool's house, a shooting where they have confirmed exactly who did the shooting. But I need to show you an ad first, so I'm going to show you the advertising for this video. This is important. Also, this information is directly related to what we're going to talk about later. So we're going to do that, and we're going to come back. I'm going to show you what Candace exposed about the Tim Pool shooting, and then we're going to get into everything we just discussed. And like I said, this is one of the best videos I've got for you, dude. Like, if you want to watch me rant about the most important things in the world, in my eyes, that is how this video is going to end. So buckle up and let's do this thing. Now, to anybody who has ever watched my content, it's going to be very obvious that the next minute is going to be me reading off of a script, but that's a script that I wrote, okay? It's because I have to hit a certain number of things to get the point across about what we're talking about. If I just go, okay, I am definitely going to go off tangents. I won't be able to hit it. So that's why I'm reading the script, to make sure I get you this information, because this is very, very important. A bombshell report just exposed the digital control grid the global elites are deploying against everyday Americans. They aren't just coming for your free speech anymore. They're coming for your life. The plan is to link your digital ID to a central bank digital currency. It is an unprecedented threat to your freedom and mine. That's why today I'm bringing you critical intel from the guys at America's Financial Freedom Intelligence Service. The technocratic elite and the deep state are hiding the truth, but these guys are going to expose it. The global insiders are building the infrastructure for the off switch on your money. They want to be able to freeze, track, and manipulate you based on their rules. We all know how this is going to work. In the future, if you don't want to get their latest mandatory vaccine, your money gets turned off. You post something unacceptable or conspiratorial online, you no longer get your food rations. Your social credit score can drop. You can't get a loan. You can't get a job. This is happening in China right now. The UK government is already ignoring millions of people to push mandatory IDs, but you still have time to shield what's yours. For thousands of years, physical gold has been the ultimate anti-tyranny asset. It is the only untraceable wealth that is immune to their surveillance and control. You need to go to jesseonfiregold.com. Link is in the description, and get the exclusive Digital ID Doomsday Report. This report reveals exactly how to position yourself outside their centralized financial grid while you still can. Experts warn the digital lockout could begin at any moment. Don't wait until the digital chains are fully locked on your family. Visit jesseonfiregold.com. Get your free report. Shield your retirement with a physical gold IRA and secure your liberty. That's jesseonfiregold.com. Do it now before the off switch and your financial freedom is flipped forever. All right, let's rock and roll.
What's happening on the Operation Mockingbird 2.0 side is now they are all blaming me for the upcoming midterms. We're not going to win midterms. Like, we're not even close to that right now. But when that happens, it's definitively going to be Candace's fault. It's so ridiculous. I couldn't care less. Tim Pool has been one of these people that is crying a lot. So he hosted Milo Yiannopoulos on his show. And first and foremost, he called all of you stupid. He said, he explicitly said, I am saying that people that watch her show are stupid because they're not accepting the Fed slop, and that they will not just eat the Fed slop that we are trying to give them. And then it was funny because later on in the show, he kind of lamented the fact that he lost a bunch of subscribers to his show because he attacked me, even though I never attacked him back. But he didn't put two and two together, which would imply that that means that people who are watching your show were also watching my show. So you're calling your own fans stupid, which is probably why they unsubscribed. Regardless of that, Milo Yiannopoulos breaks down the real reason why people are upset, the real reason that if we lose midterms, who we should be pinning the blame on. And he's come up with a way more compelling understanding, which is how we're all feeling. The person to blame if Trump loses midterms, if Republicans lose midterms, might be Republicans. It might be Trump. Here is what Milo had to say, and I will add that he is sitting also with George Santos, who joined them. Take a listen.
Jeffrey Epstein, as Bannon has said, and who would know better than him, it turns out.
You're going to quote Bannon, who consulted for Epstein?
I just said who would know better than him, as it turns out.
I just want to make that very clear for anybody listening.
I just said who would know better, as it turns out. He said that Epstein was the key that picks the lock, right? Of all of the kinds of things that people are asking, like, what is going on here? Why is this like this? And why is that? Epstein was one of the central ideological planks of MAGA teleology. Like, why does the world work like it does? Why do things look weird? Why do those people keep getting away with it and those people keep not getting away with it? Jeffrey Epstein was considered by everybody who voted for Donald Trump as a central pillar of understanding that we would unlock, and it would be like a code where bits of the universe would get like decoded for us. Like, oh my goodness, it's because of that judge. It's because of that. Everybody had that expectation, and there isn't one person who voted for Donald Trump who did not want and did not expect the Epstein files to be released immediately, in full, unredacted.
I did not have that expectation. I did not vote for Trump.
Okay, fine. Everybody except George, of course.
No, that's not true. There's so many people. I voted for Trump for many other reasons other than that.
Stop it, grow up.
You think that puts food on the table?
Grow up.
Oh, come on.
It's about egg prices. Stop it.
Come on.
He is a charisma machine, dude. Like, you just can't, you can't deny it. Like, the guy is so talented. He's so talented. This is like, peak on-camera talent.
Part of the reason that Trump was elected in 2016 was that Hillary Clinton was emblematic of the way that the world was going wrong. The secret elite collusion, Epstein, it was all linked. And people who voted for him the first time and people who have voted for him every time since, you can't find me someone apart from George, apparently, who did not want to see the Epstein files.
Let me ask you.
And I promise I'll wrap up and let someone else.
Candace looks very pretty when she is gloating. You know, like, look at her face throughout this. Like, she's glowing. I said gloating, but now I'm saying she's glowing when she is like, oh, someone sees the way the world actually works, you know?
But when he said, there's no Epstein files, and then the Democrats made it up, and then stop asking, and then if you're asking, you're not a fan of mine, and then if you're asking, I don't want you.
I agree with all of this.
That is the moment Trumpism died.
I agree.
And don't we need a reckoning? And if that reckoning comes through the obviously, I promise I'm nearly done, the obviously inadequate account from the feds and Turning Point about what happened around, before, and after Charlie Kirk's death, where his ride or die homegirl is asking questions that have exposed some inconsistencies and some questions, and which seem to point to a different etiology for the crime than the one that we're being told. And when everybody from Turning Point looks so sinister, suspicious, and guilty all the time, and they're losing to her. Respect the public on that, at least. They're losing to her, and they have every reason to be winning. So and she has every reason to be winning. Isn't it smart for us to have that reckoning at the Republican Party right now?
So I would like to respond to that. Okay. I'm going to respond to that in tremendous detail. Okay. But first, I want to hear I'm going to let Tim Pool talk, because Tim Pool has a take that I'm also going to be responding to with some very similar ideas to what I'm going to respond to. By the way, I just realized this is hilarious. I always do this. Anytime that I something in my brain is like, wow, she looks pretty about any girl, there's a 70% chance that they're wearing their hair up. Okay. Something about girls wearing their hair up is like, gosh, look at her, man. I think it's because it accentuates their bone structure, and that tends to be what I find very pretty. I harass Gabrielle to wear her hair up all the time, and she never does it because she doesn't like to. But nonetheless, okay, so now let's watch Tim Pool's take, and I'm going to stop him after a couple minutes, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I think what I'm going to say is so important.
The most effective political assassination probably of our lifetimes, maybe in our history. The left has faced no serious repercussions.
Yep.
The many on the right are now rallying against the victims of the assassination. Could there be a better outcome for the left?
Nope.
Now, you can make the argument the left didn't kill Charlie, whatever. They celebrated his death. AOC went on the House floor and said he was a bad person no one should celebrate.
Yeah, no. What she said is that no one should, they wanted to, give a day of something or other. And she said, no, he doesn't deserve it. And specifically what she said, this is an important detail, by the way. She said that Charlie Kirk, her example of why he was a bad person was Charlie Kirk was openly against the Civil Rights Act, which gave Black Americans the right to vote. Okay. That is an incredibly intentional, slippery language lie, which intended to make people think that Charlie Kirk was against Black people having the right to vote in this country, which is, it's an outright lie. Outright lie. That's not what he said at all. His problem with the Civil Rights Act had to do with how it was being applied to the LGBTQIA plus minus sign, divided sign, tic-tac, whatever community. Now, that's a filthy lie to tell about someone who's already dead and can't defend themselves, but nonetheless.
And instead of saying, guys, we have a political violence problem and it's coming from the left, the conversation on the right, half of it at least, is Turning Point is the murderer. Like, what? They're the victims. Their organization is the victim in this. So I look at what's going on and it screams.
I'll just point out, I have never said that TPUSA had anything to do with Charlie Kirk being murdered. Okay? The only time that I have even thrown any suspicion in their direction is when I float the idea that Charlie might still be alive, because that's the only thing that would explain the level of bizarre behavior coming from all of them from my perspective.
Screams op. That so many people are coming out and claiming that turning.
Sorry, he said that screams op. He's talking about the outcome of this, that Charlie gets murdered, whatever, that all of it is an op to split the right
point are the perpetrators of the crime against themselves. Well, if your goal was to destroy the right coalition, you'd take out Charlie Kirk and you destroy his organization. So I look at it like this. I don't care about the intent. That's a meaningless question. I can't read minds. The question is, what is the outcome? So you can complain that someone intends to do something and call them evil. Fine, that was always allowed too. But if we're talking about building a future and winning midterm elections and winning presidential elections and making this country better and securing our border and fixing our grocery price problem, which Trump has not been good on. If we're going to do all of that, we need to we need to discuss what will the outcome be if this action is taken. And the assassination of Charlie Kirk has destroyed the right coalition, and the actions of Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, and others is now destroying what's left of what Charlie built. They're erasing what Charlie built that helped win Donald Trump elections. Really. I don't care about what they claim. I don't care about what Candace says her motivation is. I can't read minds. I can only look at the work people like Ian Carroll, these other smaller podcasters do, and say,
I assumed that was aimed at me and my buddies. That's what I was assuming is aimed at us.
The only outcome of their action will be to destroy Turning Point, which helps Donald Trump and the Republicans win. The outcome will then be Democrats winning the midterms. And what did Candace say? Do you remember what she said about this? Quote, "We don't care about your midterms." Agreed. So when the Democrats win and they start locking up more lawyers and media personalities, and like Steve Bannon said, he'll be going to prison, then we can say, thank you, Candace Owens, for helping the Democrats win. And if you're a Democrat, you'll say yes. I mean, look at the,
Okay, so now I have a lot to say about that. Okay, a lot. So you will notice that whenever I talk about this stuff, you will not be able to find another creator that shares my position across the board. It's never happened. It almost will. I can, at least unless they listened to me and then they were like, man, you know what? That's a good point. Like, I do not get my opinions from other people. That's just not how my brain works. It never has and it never will. Okay. But here's the thing, right? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I have no loyalty to either party. So that entire thing doesn't apply to me. Number one. Number two, I will openly point out that the Fed's story does not make sense. It makes no sense. Okay. It makes no sense. Right. I'm not willing to ignore the fact that there are gigantic unexplainable holes in what they are trying to tell us happened to Charlie Kirk because of the elections that are coming up. I'm sorry, I'm still going to point out the fact that it is fundamentally impossible to me that this guy did this by himself. Okay. The 30-06 makes no sense. Okay. Even if I didn't have extensive experience firing rifle rounds at things, I would just defer to all of the experts who have shot a lot of humans and all of them are 100% aligned. No, not a 30-06. Okay. You need to come up with a different answer, right? As an example, they're saying that they captured the rifle that had the rifle rounds in it. Okay. Well, so if there is some kind of different ballistic, situation related to the rounds that were in it, remember they wrote all these things on them, right? So they have the rounds. Okay, a bolt action rifle does not eject a shell. So you have the exact shell that supposedly was the one that shot the round that hit Charlie, and then you have the other ones, which I would assume are the same. Is there some reason that they are going slower than others? Is there a reason why every other type of 30-06 blows the spine out of the ballistic dummy that people are testing? Is there a reason for that? Does anyone honestly believe that Lance Twiggs, the one that we now know, the transferee roommate, was a hysterical, schizophrenic lunatic who was prone to outbursts of anger while Tyler was super calm and was never a problem for anyone? This kid had been kicked out of the family. Did you know, Tim Pool, that Lance Twiggs, the trans furry boyfriend, okay, had attacked his own family member with a knife? Did you know that? Okay, because the grandfather, who was a pediatric doctor, refused to give him cross-sex hormones, and he attacked the grandmother with a knife, okay, according to my source, which is in their fucking family, okay? And that guy didn't know. He had no idea. This text message thread is completely legit. Oh my gosh. Wait, are you serious? You shot Charlie? No way. Say you're lying, Tyler. Yeah, right, dude. So at the very least, you have to accept that this kid, Lance Twiggs, is probably going to be witness number one against Tyler because no one can find him. What do you think that means? Either he doesn't exist or the feds put him in protective custody, right? Okay. I also use People Finder, can't find him, can find everyone else in his family, can't find him. Also connected Sky Valdez, who is the person who wrote a song, Charlie Kirk Dead at 31. I will keep on coming back to this. 3 weeks. Put it up 3 weeks before Charlie got killed, on the same day that they put a painting of a prone sniper on a roof with a caption that says roof. Okay. Tyler did not do this by himself, and he might not have even done it. Okay. He very clearly might not have even done it. Might have been Lance. Might have been Sky Valdez, might have been a state actor. I don't know. But the idea that we should just ignore all of that, we shouldn't do research because it's going to hurt the media, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Of course we're going to look into this stuff, dude. Okay? Now, I share your concern as it relates to the TPUSA attacks because it's as simple as this. What if they didn't do anything wrong? I will just say this to anybody who's going at TPUSA hard, right? Because I don't like people doing things for fake reasons, okay? I don't like people, that's not the right way I want to say this. I don't like people feigning, virtue when their real motivation is something else. I hate that, actually. And the virtuous thing to do here is very straightforward, right? You want to do right by Charlie, okay? I wasn't friends with Charlie, but I had a lot of respect for him. I watched his content. He's a person I consider to be a very meaningful character in the story of America in 2025, and he got murdered. So yeah, I'm very concerned about doing right by him, which is why I'm careful about what I throw in the direction of TPUSA. And if they didn't do anything wrong, then yeah, tearing down TPUSA for sure would be a monstrous thing, and especially if you're doing it pretending to care about Charlie. But here's the thing. If Candace really cares about Charlie and really believes that they did it or were involved or whatever, then she has every right to question it. And if she's wrong, she's wrong. If she's wrong, she's wrong, right? And she will have to reconcile that on her own. She's the one who's going to have to deal with that if it turns out that they didn't do anything wrong. And if she is cool with her, tearing down Charlie's organization he spent his life building, if they did nothing wrong and she eventually learns that, then she's a sociopath. I don't think that that's the case. That's why I don't go at her, because I'm like, I know she has more information than I do. I can't explain Charlie saying, yeah, they're going to murder me tomorrow. So like, she has way more info than me. So like, we're not going to let her run her routes here. We're going to chastise her because the outcome is that the Republican Party gets split. It's stupid. It's a stupid take. And here's exactly why. Okay. Milo's right. Okay. And don't, everybody just relax, because I got a much larger point to make here that's very important. It has to do with the ad that I told you, that I showed you guys earlier. Okay. Like, Milo's right. Dude, the Epstein files, really? You guys got into office, and does anybody seriously not remember how big of a deal the Epstein files are to us? You got in there and just went, forget about it. It's not real. You became exactly like the people that we voted out. Now we can't trust you. And that is such a level of betrayal that everybody's like, oh my God. Like, that certainly would have a bigger impact on everything than anything else. If that wouldn't have happened, do you think that there would be some big fracture in the Republican Party over Charlie Kirk? Okay, because here's the thing, the real fracture has to do, you know what? That's enough on that, okay? But because I want to make a much larger point, and this is really important, okay? I share Tim's concerns in a major way. Like, I'm talking like I am paralyzed by this fear, which is I have a long memory, okay? The reason I could connect things sometimes, I just remember important details, and I remember what it was like when this happened, okay? I am 100% convinced that had Trump gotten hit in Butler in a place that would have been lethal, we would live in a different world right now, completely, top to bottom, okay? I would not be able to talk like this on the internet. I'm telling you, like, I think that, I'm not saying I would have gotten my entire platform taken away. I would have had to censor myself in ways that would have been unrecognizable to the channel. Okay. I think digital IDs would have been it. I think the only reason that they did not push the gas absolutely down to the floor is because he was still around. And they knew if they pushed too hard, he was going to win for sure. So they had to kind of scale it back a little bit while they are actively, intentionally flooding our borders with illegals that are going to remake the entire country. They're spending money to fly them to all these different counties. They're giving them free money on EBT cards. Okay. This is like so nefarious. They're trying to break the country. They're not just trying to, like put us into a box. Digital IDs, mandatory this, mandatory that, 15-minute cities, all of that stuff. You think I forgot about that? I did not forget about that. I know exactly what they're trying to put together. I know that. Okay. But and here's the thing, right? Am I stupid enough to think that those guys went away just because we won the election in 2024? Of course not. These guys don't lose. They never lose. To them, 4 years is nothing. These are people who think in terms of much longer periods of time. So if they got to wait him out and then in 2028, they get back to business, whatever, they're going to do that. The future that they were trying to implement is so terrifying to me that like I don't forget that. Okay. So as much as the current administration is like letting us down on things, I don't forget what the other side of the table is. If we don't have them, to stand up for us, what it looks like. That is why you don't hear me, go super hard on the Israel topic or whatever, because I'm like, to me, it's like, what is the thing? Like, I can only keep my eye on one prize as it relates to like what am I most afraid of? Like, what am I most afraid of? And what I'm most afraid of is having all of our freedom taken away. Where, and bringing this back to the source of all of this, this happened because when China was able to enter into the capitalistic market and they were still a communist country, everyone assumed that what was going to happen was China was going to adopt a more Western way of looking at things. And what actually happened is all the Western countries looked at how China did it and they're like, oh wait, we could still be capitalists and simultaneously lock down everybody and we can control everything. Why don't we do that? Okay, that's what changed. Okay, and there's even more to this than even that with me. Okay, we have entire ecosystems that are collapsing. Okay. Topsoil. I've talked about this a bunch of times. Okay. Topsoil. I know a lot about it because I used to work for the largest private satellite data company in the world. And one of the things that I sold into specifically was agriculture, was large scale enterprise agriculture. And so I learned about things like topsoil. Topsoil takes hundreds of years to form. And because of our reckless, like genetically enhanced farming practices, we have gone through over 70% of the topsoil in the last 45 years. Okay. If we go through all the topsoil, we can't grow fucking food, man. Okay. There's no like science solve for this. We can't grow food. Okay. You can't raise animals because they are fed with corn. If you can't grow corn, you can't raise animals. That is why they're talking about feeding us bugs. Okay. That's the real reason that they are telling you that they're going to feed us bugs. That is why, because we're not going to be able to grow food the way that we have. We're not going to be able to raise animals the way that we have. Okay, that's why they're trying to do like these carbon credits. I learned all about that because they're incentivizing the farms to do this way of farming where they rotate crops, whatever, and that way it kind of salvages the topsoil. But at the end of the day, Monsanto and companies like that have taken the seeds and all of these ancient ways of managing long-term, kind of harmony with the environment, they just destroyed all of that. And so now they're trying to backtrack and reckon, okay, well, maybe if we do it like this, whatever, like this, whatever, like this. Well, maybe if you didn't regulate that out of existence so you could, corner the market, it's like there's no simple answers to anything. Communism's terrible. Yeah, it is. But you have AI around the corner also. So maybe the only way we can do society is going to be with some kind of communist thing where you have the machines making everything and then they distribute it to us. Well, in that world, you can't just give everyone everything they want. You have to ration things. You won't have to work, but you also are going to get a ration of food and someone's going to say what you get. There's going to be a ration of whatever you can do. And at a certain point, maybe they're like, I don't think there's any reason that we need to have, this, and this for people. Like it's bad for them. And then boom, you can't drink. Boom, you can't smoke. Boom, you can't do this. You can't drink soda. You can't do the things that maybe you like to do because you like the freedom, but it's like, you're not going to have to work, but you're going to be controlled like that. Okay. And if you don't like that, you're going to be homeless and we're going to starve because the capitalist society is going to implode. Okay. Like this is the world that you live in. This is not a game. Like this is real. You are not going to be necessary in the industry that you are in right now. Okay. It's not, you will not exist. Your job won't exist. You're a truck driver. That's an easy one. Okay. You're a salesperson. Oh no, believe me, salespeople, you're going to have those human interactions. No, you're not. Okay. No, you're not. Okay. Have you interacted with an AI bot when you're trying to solve something? Like if I called the Geek Squad and had them trying to fix this computer issue I was having last night, it would have been a nightmare. I did it with ChatGPT in 10 minutes. It goes, here's a screenshot. Boom. No, okay, do this. Oh, here's a screenshot. Oh, okay, do this. It knows instantly. Okay, like that is a job right there. People don't realize it because they don't even use it. And we're talking about right now AI. Like right now AI. I don't need a human to help me fix a computer issue that I for sure, until a couple of years ago, would have for sure had to bring it in. Boom, fixed. 15 minutes. AI. Boom, done. Whose job is that? Gone. Okay. Sales. What do you think sales are? Someone asks, they'll have some kind of outreach. You reach out to them and then boom, you're talking to them. You think, how far away do you think it is where you're going to be able to talk to the thing and it's not going to be distinguishable between a real human and a fake one. Okay. And you already know they are fake influencers. You're going to be on a Zoom call with what you think is a human. It's not going to be a human. And you'll never know. You'll be hitting on the girl. You'll be hitting on a girl because they figured out with some algorithm that that like, oh, if you make the girl real sexy and you make them flirt, then guess what? You're going to close more business. And so boom, all of these salespeople are robots that you're talking to through a screen. They don't even exist. And you're like, oh, yeah. So wait, well, where do you live? Oh, I live in New York. Really? And they'll just string you along because it makes you more likely to buy. Okay. Like they're going to have us clocked. They're going to have us clocked to the gills. There's nothing they will not have clocked. And that is the future that we're in. And this is what we are trying to navigate. Okay. So like the idea that there are these stupid, like simple answers for all of this shit is dumb. There's not. Okay. Like everything is complicated. It's not Candace's fault that the Republican Party split. And even if we are fighting as hard as we can to try to maintain our freedom, we might be wrong. We might not even be right. We might be pushing us towards starvation because of AI. Maybe the other guys are right. Holy shit, I've been talking for 26 minutes. Okay, that's probably enough. Love you guys. Bye-bye.